Hi, my name is Stuart McCallan, and I'd like to welcome you to Course Planning 2021-2022 for our grade 11 students entering grade 12. In this presentation, I'll be going over grad requirements, course choices, as well as post-secondary information. There are a number of people at West Vancouver Secondary who are going to be of great assistance to your son or daughter as they navigate their grade 12 year. We split our students alphabetically, so those with last names A to L will be working with Catherine Walton. The students M to Z will be working with myself, Stuart McCallan. Our IB diploma students will be working closely with Joanne Pone. And as well, Linda Caruth works in the counseling office and helps with a variety of tasks, be it university questions regarding university applications, as well as the submission of marks to universities. As our students start making decisions about their grade 12 year, it's important that they also make sure that they're on track to graduate. In British Columbia, all students need to require 80 credits over grades 10, 11, and 12. And each course at West Vancouver Secondary School is equal to 4 credits. So within the credits, they also need to acquire specific courses across specific subject areas. So for example, language arts, social studies, science, math, PE, career life, electives, and career life connections all have required courses that must be accumulated over the 3 years of graduation. To summarize grad requirements, all students will need to achieve 80 credits, and within those 80, 48 are required, 28 are elective, plus the 4 career life connections. And one other caveat is that students must have 4 grade 12 courses. The grade 12 year is all about choice. Students will be asked to select 8 courses, and within the 8, there are only 2 that are required. English Studies 12 and Career Life Connections 12. The remaining courses are all what we consider electives. Obviously, most of our students will be thinking about post-secondary, and their remaining courses will be made up of specific courses needed to get into a specific program. As well, some of those courses could be at a grade 11 level. They do not have to be at grade 12, but students do need to have English 12 and 3 other grade 12 courses in order to meet the grad requirements. A further requirement of graduation is the grad assessment exams. There are 3 exams that students will be writing. 2 are literacy and 1 is numeracy. Numeracy and literacy are offered to our grade 10 students, and the final literacy is offered to our grade 12 students. In order to meet the requirements, all 3 of these exams need to be written by the end of grade 12. As mentioned earlier, a required course at grade 12 is Career Life Connections. The Career Life Connections 12 piggybacks off the course that the students started in grade 11. And there's 3 components to this course: community connections, transition planning, and as well the capstone project. So as a requirement for Career Life, students have to have 30 hours of paid or volunteer community work experience. Transition planning is researching plans for post-secondary as well as career preparation. And the culminating project is the capstone, which is the opportunity for students to share their experiences at West Vancouver Secondary, highlighting their accomplishments and focusing on the core competencies of communication, critical thinking, as well as social responsibility. As I noted earlier, students will be asked to select 8 courses, and within that 8, there's going to be a tremendous amount of choice. We really encourage our grade 11s to take the time to research programs that they're interested in, specific schools that they may be applying to, so that they can ensure that they're choosing the right courses at their grade 12 level. I'd also like to just highlight a couple of things that students need to consider when they're selecting their courses, and those fall under the second language requirement, math requirement, science requirement, and English requirements, as some post-secondary schools will vary from others in regards to specific courses that are needed in order to be admitted. At West Van Secondary, we offer a variety of science courses at both grade 11 and grade 12. And as I noted earlier, Science 12 is not required for graduation, but obviously many of our students will take Science 12 courses as they are planning to attend a post-secondary science or engineering program. As well, we do have grade 12 students selecting science at the grade 11 level if it is something that they needed for a program. For example, perhaps they didn't take Physics 11 in grade 11, but they need it. They need a Physics 11, so they might select that at grade 12. And once again, encourage students to research post-secondary schools' specific science requirements, as some schools may require a minimum of 2 sciences for their particular program, and so forth. There are a few options for grade 12 when it comes to taking math courses. As has previously noted, Math 12 is not required for graduation purposes as long as a student has a Math 11 course. But for many of our students, Math 12 will be required as they need it for their post-secondary plans. So some students will be staying with the pre-calculus, taking pre-calculus 12, whereas other students might find that the foundations math is in a more appropriate placement. Many of our students will also take calculus concurrently with pre-cal 12, and so calculus, certainly if you're going to be applying to an engineering program, that's a requirement for most of the engineering programs across Canada. If students are going into a business program, science program, we do recommend calculus, as that is a course that they will be taking at first-year university. So this slide demonstrates or just shows the different pathways that I previously mentioned. And so once again, if a student is thinking science, engineering, down the road, possibly medicine or business program, they should be taking pre-cal 11, pre-cal 12, and also seriously consider calculus. If a student is thinking post-secondary school but falling more into the humanities, social sciences, and fine arts, pre-calculus may not be a necessary course, and they might decide to take Foundations 12, as that is an accepted course and would meet their needs in regards to applying to post-secondary school. Grade 12 students have a variety of social studies courses to choose from, ranging from geography, both human and physical, to our history courses, which is 20th century world history and genocide studies, law, economic theory, philosophy, social justice. There's a variety of different options. A reminder that students do not have to take social studies in grade 12 as long as they have a social studies credit at grade 11. But all of these courses in general are accepted at post-secondary school. So students that need to meet those requirements should consider social studies courses. At West Van Secondary, we have a number of courses that we refer to as academic electives. These courses are not required for graduation, but in some instances may be needed at a post-secondary level. For example, students do not need to have a second language in order to graduate, but if they are applying to post-secondary school, there may be language requirements that are required. As well, we have a number of business courses that are not required for graduation, but students that are interested in pursuing business may be interested in continuing to study business courses in high school. One of the strengths of Westvan Secondary is the variety of electives that we offer. We have passionate teachers that have expertise in a variety of the fine art and applied skill courses. We have fantastic facilities that allow us to offer auto, for example, and woodworking. I encourage our students to look at the different fine arts and applied skills courses. It's their last chance to take an elective that they need no experience. They can jump into any of these courses, be it if it's art, textiles, dance, drama, music, yoga, physical education, and so forth. Academic tutorial is an academic support block that is supervised by a teacher. The assessment is based solely on work habits and attendance. As assignments are not given in the academic tutorial, it's a place that students can work on their academic subjects and receive extra help if they need so. There is no credit for this course. The Careers Department oversees a couple of programs that may be of interest to grade 12 students. One of them is the Work Experience course, which is a class that students do the majority of their work outside of the classroom, be it in a paid or volunteer work placement. There's a small component of classroom time, and depending on how many hours the student accumulates, they could receive 4 credits for 90 hours. If they exceed that and go to that, they double the hours up to 180, they could be receiving up to 8 credits. We also run an apprenticeship program in which students are able to receive up to 16 credits if they're working in an industry recognized field. As well, we have the Trades and Trade program at West Vancouver Secondary, which is a comprehensive carpentry program that is offered on site, in which students will take a full day of carpentry and receive up to 16 credits. Apart from the courses offered at West Vancouver Secondary, West Van School District offers a multitude of district programs. These are courses ranging from fashion industry to honor choir, Art West, yoga training, environmental sciences. There's a variety of different options that are available to our students. If your son or daughter is interested in any of these district programs, I encourage them to have a look at the district website and under district programs to gain further information on registration. The remainder of this presentation is going to focus on post-secondary and some of the considerations that students need to take when they are selecting their grade 12 courses. Students graduating out of West Vancouver are a very diverse group. We have students that are going off to post-secondary school in jurisdictions throughout Canada, the United States, and other parts of the world. We have many students that decide to stay local. Some of our students are applying to very prestigious schools. Others are still trying to find their way and are looking at local career programs, or in some cases might take the year off and work or travel. But the reality is that our students do have multiple choices and options that are available to them once they leave West Vancouver Secondary. Admission to post-secondary school will vary from institution to institution. Within the province of British Columbia, our major universities all have different admission requirements, but there are a few things that in general are the same across the board. When students are applying to post-secondary school, which is usually in the fall of their grade 12 year, the universities they're applying to are going to be looking that students have the required courses. In many instances, they'll be required grade 11 and grade 12 courses. Some post-secondary institutions will only require grade 12 courses. Admission average is based not on everything that a student takes, but usually on the required courses that are needed to get into post-secondary school. So for example, if a student needs 4 courses, their admission average is based on those 4 courses, 5 courses, etc. UBC is a bit different in that sense, and I will highlight that on a later slide. But in general, first step is students research the schools they want to go to, look at the programs that they're interested in, and then they choose their high school courses based on those admission requirements. In the last couple of years, UBC has revamped their admission requirements. And this slide will give you a brief overview of considerations that come into applying to UBC. First off, UBC will look at all the courses that students have taken in grade 11 and grade 12, and they will use that in the determination of an overall average. As well, a very important part of the admissions, it will be based on core average, and that will be the core courses that a student has accumulated in relationship to the faculty or program that they are applying to. So for example, if a student is applying to sciences, their core average would be made up of their science courses and their math courses, whereas their overall average will be made up of everything that the student took in grade 11 and grade 12. As well, there are some core key or key courses that are part of the requirements for students. So once again, that might be a specific mark, and at UBC it's a 70% in English 11 or 12. And that's just the minimum mark. Regardless of a student's other grades, if they are unable to achieve 70% in English 11 or 12, they will not be admitted. Additional considerations will be breadth, rigor, and relevancy. So that is in regards to how difficult the courses are that they took, how deeply engaged in a particular field they have been, such as have they taken a number of business courses or a number of social studies courses, etc. And on top of that, UBC also has a personal profile in which students highlight things such as leadership and their engagement in activities outside of their classes. And that is a crucial part of the application process, as that is the first thing that UBC will be reviewing when students apply. This slide helps to give a visualization to what UBC will be judging students on. So once again, personal profile, which is submitted with a student's application, overall average, which is all grade 11 and 12 courses that a student has taken, core average, which are the academic courses that relate specifically to the program a student is applying to, and then additional consideration will go into depth, breadth, and rigor. Students applying to Simon Fraser University will have a different criteria for admission. At SFU, students that are applying to SFU will need to have a minimum of 5 approved grade 12 courses, as well as the grade 11 requirements. SFU also has a minimum English mark of 70%. And once again, each program has specific course requirements, so will vary from faculty to faculty. UVic is always a popular destination for West Vancouver graduates, and UVic Unlike UBC and SFU, UVic requires English plus 3 approved grade 12 courses. So in total, 4 courses are used to determine admissions. If a student has more, if they have 5 or 6 approved courses, then UVic will use required courses and then the marks that are the highest of the other courses. So for example, if a student did take additional academics and we're concerned that their average is being pulled down, that is only the case if that course is used in the admissions decision. So if it's a 5th course or a 6th course, it is not used in that decision and it will not impact their admission average. There are a number of post-secondary schools that require students to apply with a broad-based application. What this means is that these universities, such as UBC, are looking at what students have accomplished outside of the classroom and are not basing admissions on grades alone. So schools such as UBC and Queen's and Waterloo, most business schools across Canada will require some form of broad-based application. And so what that would mean for our students is they're going to be asked to highlight a number of their accomplishments and contributions around the areas of leadership, sports, creative and performing arts, work, and service to others. Navigating post-secondary applications can appear fairly intimidating for most of our grade 12 students. What I'd like to just reassure you is that at Westvan, there's a lot of support for the students, be it directly with the counseling office or also through their career life course. Most of their grade 12s will begin their application some point in the fall of the grade 12 year. Many of the post-secondary schools accept applications starting in September. But generally speaking, students will be applying through the months of October, November, and into December. Things that students need to consider are deadlines. And each school is going to have a separate application deadline. Some deadlines are attached to scholarships. Some schools have early admission deadlines, etc. So it's very important that students do their research, are aware of when the deadlines are, and also if they are taking online courses, they need to be aware if there are any specific deadlines about completing an online course that they want to use towards their post-secondary admission. As I mentioned previously, universities have different admission requirements, and even the same university will have different requirements based upon the program that a student is applying to. So for example, if a student is applying to the Faculty of Arts, in general they will need English, social studies, a math, and a science, and in case of UBC and SFU, a second language. And then their grade 12 will be English 12 and 3 or 4 approved courses. So in this example, there are no specific requirements at the grade 12 level. In comparison to a student that might be applying to an arts program, an engineering program is much more specific. So this slide will show you that if a student is thinking of Faculty of Engineering, there's going to be specific grade 11 courses, chemistry, physics, pre-cal, and at the grade 12 level, there'll be specific grade 12s that are needed in order to meet the requirements for admission. Every year, I have grade 12s coming to my office and asking me, how high do my marks need to be? And there's no easy answer on that in regards to averages for post-secondary school. It will vary from school to school, program to program. In some cases, it's highly competitive. So if a student wants to study sciences at UBC, it is a very competitive average. I try to change the discussion a little bit and have the students focus on what they control. They don't control how high the marks have to be. What they control is how hard they can work in their subjects, how much extra help they can seek from their teachers. They do the best to be the best student, and often the rest of it will fall into place. I'd also like to highlight different options that are available for our students. In the many years that I have worked at Westvan Secondary, I've seen multiple students that have their desires on a particular school, and unfortunately in some cases they're not accepted for a variety of different reasons. University transfer is a program that all of the major schools are involved with. So for example, a student can start at one particular post-secondary school and transfer to another, be it if it's a Capilano University transferring to one of the larger schools, or conversely, if a student is at a major university and they decide to transfer to another. That is it's not a difficult process to navigate, but students need to keep in mind that there's a limit to how much can be transferred, and they have to be aware that not all courses are viewed equally at each school. So they do need to be aware that they need to research what are transferable credits, etc. And I just want to highlight the BC Transfer Guide. It's an excellent resource that students can look at if they're thinking of transferring. And in general, a student can transfer up to 2 years of a 4-year degree from one institution to another. The counselors will be meeting with the grade 11 students the week of February 22nd through to the 25th. In our initial visit, we will be discussing with students grad requirements as well as considerations for post-secondary school. So we'll go over in detail a number of the slides that I shared with you in this presentation. We will be allowing students to make changes throughout the remainder of the school year. As our practice in the counseling office to ensure fairness, we will put students on a wait list after spring break. If there's room in the class, they'll get moved in there, but if the class is full, we want to ensure that the students that get the seats are the ones that chose it first time round. This concludes my presentation on grade 11 entering grade 12. I hope that you found the information useful, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you're looking for some further information in regards to students navigating post-secondary, I'd like to point out that the Westvan Secondary Counseling Department website has a lot of information in regards to post-secondary admission, scholarships, etc. I encourage you to have a look. Thank you.